Congresswoman Elise Stefanik. Congresswoman, welcome to the show.
Good to be with you, Lindsay and Sean.
All right. So as we mentioned, Governor Cuomo has denied these allegations altogether with that video that he put out. No signs of resignation at all from him because we saw no apology. But as I mentioned, Democrats in New York, they control the entire process here. And by the minute, we're seeing more and more call for him to resign. Has Cuomo reached a tipping point with his own party here? Because we even saw Biden and Nancy Pelosi today weigh in and call for him to resign.
I think that Governor Cuomo has reached a tipping point. I called for his resignation months ago. I was also the first federal elected official to call for an independent investigation when the cases of sexual harassment, sexual abuse, and sexual assault were first reported. I stand by that call that he should resign. But in the past few months, we have seen Democrat lawmakers at the state level slow walk the impeachment proceedings. That changes after today. We have seen that the Democratic leadership is starting the process to move towards impeachment. They have to do that with alacrity to get that done as quickly as possible to make sure justice is served to these brave women who have come forward. It was astounding to see Governor Cuomo's response. He is digging in. He wants this to go away. And we need to make sure that no matter if you're the most powerful elected official in New York, a sitting governor, or an everyday New Yorker, laws apply equally. There needs to be equal justice under the law.
You know, you mentioned that response, right? He claims that he's the same person as he is in private, and he used those photographs to show that, you know, he hugs everyone, he kisses them. I guess the message is I'm creepy in public and in private. But then he basically says I'm a warm person that hugs and kisses people because basically, well, the implication is, hey, I'm Italian. His brother, CNN host Chris Cuomo, apparently helped him craft his response to those allegations. But here's what he had to say about a restaurant owner who argued with him about vaccinations.
I hate that he's Italian-American, by the way, because it plays into his stereotype.
So he hates the stereotype, but the message that Governor Cuomo is seemingly portraying is, hey, we Italians, that's how we interact with folks.
Well, listen, I'm Italian-American. My mom makes the best pasta sauce when we have our Sunday family dinners. So I can talk about Italian-American tendencies and customs. They are not sexual harassment, sexual abuse, and that is a smear on Italian-Americans by both Chris Cuomo and Andrew Cuomo. By the way, Sean, Chris Cuomo should be fired. He needs to be fired immediately because he went out much further than an independent reporter and is included in the Attorney General's report as helping craft a response for Governor Cuomo and smearing the victims with retaliation, which is illegal in New York State. As we read in the New York State Attorney General's report, this was groping, this was inappropriate touching, this is inappropriate verbal abuse and illegal retaliation. Those are crimes at the federal and state level. He needs to be prosecuted, impeached, and ultimately arrested. And I believe that many of the victims will sue him for damages.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, these are brave women who have come forward in this. But in response to Attorney General's charges of a toxic and hostile work environment, this is what Governor Cuomo said to those. Listen to this.
My office is no typical 9-to-5 government office, and I don't want it to be. The stakes we deal with are very high, sometimes even life and death. We have to get the job done.
All right, so he's getting it all wrong here. He's acting like a toxic work environment is working hard, not his actions, which he's being charged for here. But I do want to ask you about this because you mentioned it, that he should be arrested and go further. I'm not an attorney. I'll put that out there. But you do have a Democrat attorney general laying out all these charges against him. If he did what she said that he did, these inappropriate actions and groping, which it is sad to read through these charges, why is she stopping short of saying that he shouldn't be arrested?
Well, that was frustrating, Lindsay, to read in the report because they do say specifically that federal laws and state laws were broken. We have seen that the Albany County District Attorney has said that they're pursuing criminal investigation. And ultimately, I believe that will lead to criminal prosecution. But just going back to what the governor's lame excuse was when it comes to the long hours. Listen, since I graduated from college and even before that, I've worked long hours. I've worked in the West Wing of the White House. I work as a hardworking member of Congress. These are long days. There is never any excuse for a toxic work environment or for the illegal sexual harassment, sexual abuse that this governor committed. He needs to resign. I've called on him to resign, and he needs to be impeached immediately.
Okay, so you want him to be resign. You want him to resign. I get that. I think we can all be clear that we want him to be held accountable, right? But let's be honest. We're in a town where politics is forefront, so let's take the politics head on. If Governor Cuomo were to resign, Congresswoman, do you believe that it would be a lot harder for Republicans to then capture the governor's mansion? I do. I think that absent Cuomo, it becomes a much steeper hill to climb. And so the question is, yes, we want him held accountable, but does that undermine Republicans' efforts to retake the governor's mansion?
You know, Sean, I am one of the governors, probably the most vocal critic of Governor Cuomo. I was, as I said, the first to call for him to resign, the first to call for investigation, and I've dubbed him the worst governor in America. This is too serious to play politics. There needs to be accountability for these victims who have come forward. Much of this was done in plain sight also for many, many years. You can look at some of the footage of how he has treated women in the media over the years with verbally, sexually charged language. So we need to focus on justice being served and not playing the politics. What I'm concerned is that Democrats in the state legislature have played politics up until this point. So we will see in the coming days, and it should be days, whether they are going to make sure he's held accountable or they're going to succumb to the political pressure from Governor Cuomo, who is a known bully, who seeks political retribution. And that's one of the reasons I believe, unfortunately, because of that political pressure, we didn't see the Democrats in the state legislature pursue impeachment proceedings earlier. They slow walked them after saying to the public they were going to pursue them. So this is really not about politics. This is about justice and accountability for everyone, equal justice under the law.
Right? No one is above the law, no matter what office they hold. Congresswoman Stefanik, appreciate your time today and for speaking out on this matter.
Thanks for the opportunity.